Hi guys, welcome to the Call Data Analytics. My name is David, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you 4 things as a beginner. Number 1 is how you can create a database. 2, how you can create tables in your database. 3, how you can insert data into your database. And 4, how you can query your database. So guys, let's go in and see how we can do all this. Alright guys, like I said in this video, I'm going to be showing us 4 main objectives. 1, create a database, and this is the name of our database. It's an employee database. 2 is going to be tables, and in our database we should have 2 tables. Excuse me. 1 is going to be employee TB table, and the other one is going to be salary underscore TB. You can give it any name you want. There's no rule to that. There's no you can be flexible. So next is going to be insert. We're going to insert data into our database, and the last one we're going to query it. So just a quick check. If you're watching this video and you don't have this workbench, MySQL Workbench, you could watch one of my videos. Maybe I'll try to put a link to it, how you could download and install MySQL Workbench, so that you can have the same thing that we have. Yeah, so it's not a very difficult process, very straightforward. You could watch one of my videos, you should get sufficient information. And guys, if you look at my left hand side here, this schemas, we have other databases here. So when you are installing yours, you might not have all this information here. I think you should only have this SYS. So that should be your own system database, as the case may be. So guys, now let's go to our major objective for today. Looking at this statement here, is not a code, it's just a comment. It's called the multiple line comment. You can start it with the backslash, an asterisk, and you try to end it with an asterisk and a backslash. This is a multiple line. We are going to make use of the single line and comment also in the as we progress in this video. So guys, to make a single line comment is just like take notes or good annotations to make your code line or describe what you're doing in your code. That's the essence of comment. So hyphen space, then what are we trying to do? We are creating a database first. You can see that's making it blue like, and a very light blue. Now what's the code line to create a database? Should be create database. What's the name of our database? Like I mentioned here, this is the name of our database here, which is the core data underscore DB. You can put a semicolon. That means that's the end of that code line. You can highlight, then run it, execute it with this bolt like icon here. So fine, create database, affected row. So if you refresh your schema, there we have it. We have our database here. So guys, peradventure you have other database. I think I should just inform us ahead of time. You have other database and you want to direct tell your machine the exact one you want to use. You could use the core data underscore DB. You are telling your workbench that this is the database I want to use, so that's the one it's going to use. So let me just show you. If I pick another database, let's see what will happen. So employee underscore mod. Let's see what will happen. Employee. So you can see it's now a little bit darker here. Excuse me. It's now a little bit darker here. So just to make sure that you're with me on this class, I just needed to show you that. Also, so let's go ahead. I'm going to clean this. I'm going to use the core data underscore DB. So I just showed you that just in case when you start building your database, you need to use that. You're telling your system that this is what you want to, okay, the core database. Oh, that's an E there, because this is debugging also. So guys, you see, I omitted an E in this code line, and it said use the core database, unknown database. So guys, that's the way you can debug error, try to fix errors when you have issues when running your SQL. So I'll check through the core database. Is that true? Yes, it's true. All we have is E here. So guys, I'll put in my E and run my code. Awesome, one who affected. So now another hyphen. space, creating creating our first table. So what's the name of our first table? Should be employee table. So the next thing to do is the keyword is to create table, and then what's the name of our table? Employee underscore TB as table. Open up a bracket, then we begin to insert our fields. What are the fields we want to put into our table? So the number one should be employee, employee underscore ID, and we can give it a data type of int. Don't worry, if you don't know much about data type, I'm going to do that video in one of my next video before I finish this series on SQL. So next, we're going to create our first name. We want to know the first name of our employee. So we use a varchar. That's going to be the name of our data type. So we keep it to be, let's say 50, close it up, a comma, next. So don't forget to put your comma after you're creating each line of your column name and moving next. So let's say last name, we'll repeat that to be varchar, and oopsie, I think so, comma, remove this, so varchar. Next, what should we know? We should know the gender. So varchar, let's make that just 20, comma, let's know the age. You can make that data type int. And what else do we need to know? Let's scroll up. Let's make that job role. The job role. So the job role, and let's make that varchar also. Let's make it a 50. So, and now we need to close this bracket, open bracket. Now we need to close it and add our semicolon to indicate that we are done with this line of code and now we want to run it. So guys, there is still more to this creating of tables. I can say insert a primary key to it, but just not to make it complex. Very easy to go ahead with this one. So you can highlight it and run your code, and you see create table affected 0. So fantastic, we are good to go. Next, let's try to create our second table. Create creating a second table. So same process. By now you should be familiar with this process already. So the first thing to do is to create. The keyword is create table. You can see this is so easy to understand. So create table. What's the name of our table? If you don't forget, I called it the salary table. So it's going to be salary underscore TB, and I can open up a bracket here. Now, what kind of information do we need to get from our salary? We can just have the employee ID is fine. The employee ID is fine here. Employee ID is fine here. We'll make it an int, a comma. Then let's say the salary employee ID, we can call it underscore salary, and we can also call it int. Yeah, call it an int, and we can also close it up and put our semicolon and then run our code line, and let's see. You can check through to see if you're actually correct. Read your script. What you have just done is create table, salary, this is the name of the table, open up a bracket. These are the fields or the column names you want to have, employee ID and salary. So once you have an ID here and you have an ID here, this is something that can make them relate together. Some other videos I might get to touch all this later. So guys, highlight your code line here, run your script. Now you're good to go. If you refresh your schema here, now you can see you have it like a drop down here. So you have employee table, you have your salary table. Fantastic. If you have done this, you have actually achieved a milestone. You could give yourself a whooping well, you could give yourself a clap So if you open up this, you see you have colons still to fill, but you have your colons here, but no information and your colons. Colons are ready. So guys, you're doing a great job if you're still with me on this in this video. So next, we've been able to achieve two things. One, create a table. Two, create a database. Two, create a table. Now we want to insert data into our database. So guys, I'll take the first one. So let me draw this down. Then by now you should know what we have to do. Let's put some hyphen. Let's make a statement creating or let's say it's not creating again, it's going to be inserting data into database. So guys, how do you insert data into your database? The keyword there is insert into. Now when you indicate insert into, you need to mention the table you are trying to work on. So recall that you have two tables, so you can say inserting data into, let's make this so that it will be more direct and explicit. Inserting data into table 1. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, looks good. So what's the name of our table 1 is employee underscore TB. That's the name of our table 1. So what values do we want to enter into it? I hope you're going along with me. Values should ask you the values you want to enter into it. So your values should be, you open a bracket, and if you recall, the first thing here is your employee ID. The next one here is the first name, is the last name, gender, age, and the job role. So in that same order, you need to input your data. So let's say your employee ID is 1011. Let's do something sequential. 1001, comma. This is more or less like an integer. You don't need to put them into quotes. So, but for string letters or string words, you need to put them into quotes. For example, the next thing is your first name. So I put a comma at the back here. You can see next thing is the first name. The first name should be David. And what I'm trying to explain initially about putting them into quotes, this is a word, so I need to put this into quotes. So yes, so that's David. Next comma. What next am I trying to? What's the last name? Let's say Kimberly. So that's it. Put them into quotes. So you could put the quote first. So Kimberly. So yes, comma. Next is what's the gender? Is a male. So comma. What's the age? Let's stick with 30, and let's do a comma. Next, what's the job role? You can see I'm going sequentially. Employee ID, look at it here. The first name, this is it here. The last name, this is it here. And the gender, this is it here. Age, this is it here. And the job role. So of course, what job role do I need to put in there? Data analyst. So guys, I'll close up this. Now, if you have done this, you have been able to get to the point where you want to start inserting data into your database. So you can highlight this one already. You can highlight it already and run your database. So it's running. So let's see what we have down here. You can see insert into employee underscore table affected. Fantastic. We have data inside our database. So we could add more information to our database. But before we do that, let me query our database to let's see what we have inside. So how do you query our database? Let's check if what we have actually done is inside our database. So select this columns. You can say select your employee ID. Employee, there's a shortcut to that, but I want to make you understand it first before going into all that. Employee ID, first name, comma, last name, comma, what else do we have? Gender, comma, age, comma, job role, comma, no need for comma. So you extend it from, I could bring it up to the next line, from what's the name of the table is employee. So employee underscore TB and close close it up. So guys, let's close up this one too. We'll close that one up. So here we have inserted data into a database. Let's just do a quick query. So let's check what we have. What we did here, we are saying select employee ID, the first name, the last name, the gender, age, and job role from this table. So guys, let's see, highlight everything and let's roll. It's fetching. So awesome. You can see now we have data inside a database. So guys, very quickly, I'll take a pause and add other data into this into our DB. I'll provide all the scripts in the description below, how you can get, if you need all the script, I'll provide it below. But guys, if you have not subscribed on this channel, kindly do so. If you have if you think the information is quite sufficient, kindly subscribe to get more as I take you on the line of data analytics. So guys, I'll take a pause now and add some data and I'll make them available to you. So guys, all right guys, I've added other data sets into our workbench. So like I said, I'm going to provide this script for you guys to work with. So this was the last line of code we entered into our DB, and you can see we have a semicolon here. So now you might want to remove this one since this is already in our database. You can remove this one, and while I explain others to you. So guys, this is 1002 Esther Ngozi, she's a female, 30, receptionist. We add a comma, and next line of data that I want to insert, comma. You could just follow through this process like that, comma, add a comma, enter your. So now, if you are done with that, you could add a semicolon to indicate that you're done with your code line, and you could highlight. So, and let's run. So fantastic, this is done. And we're good to go. Now we have some information in our first table. So let's try to check what we have in our first table. So if you recall, I did something like this in our first table, trying to create our first table, but I'm going to use the wildcard now, which is going to be an hash or an asterisk as the case may be. So select, the statement is select all, you can use your hash from employee underscore TB. So put in your semicolon and then you can highlight and let's see what we have there. So fantastic guys, come on, you've really done a good job. Now you have data in your database. So guys, we have all this information here in our database. You can see guys, good work, good job everyone. You've done pretty well. You've done pretty well. All your details are inside here. You could see 1, 2, the first one that was entered, the second one, down to this particular one. So guys, let's try to do the next one. Our second table, which is inserting data into table 2. So here we have our values, 1001, which is imputed already, which has been typed already, and we have the salary, which is about 82 naira, it's $2 as the case may be. Now you have it, you can see a comma at the back, another comma at the back. This indicates that we are taking it line by line. So now we can highlight this. At the end, you can put your semicolon, which is good code writing, and highlight it also for our table 2. This is going, let's see what we should have here. Let's see, fantastic. We have 9 records, no duplicates, 0 duplicates and things like. So guys, let's try to check, let's try to query our database and say, okay, select all from, what's the name of our database, table rather, salary underscore TB. So let's highlight all guys and query our database. Now we have, can you see 1,001 in your database? And guys, if you have done this, you've really done a good job. It's a good start in your journey to SQL, through SQL. So let me bring this down a bit. So you have all your data sets in your database already. Like I said, the objective of this video is to create a database, create tables, insert, and query. Let's check what we have. So we've been doing justice to that. And I'm sure that with this information, you've been able to learn one or two things. And if you have done that, you could kindly subscribe and like and share this video with someone as we move along together to learn in the space of data analytics. So guys, or data analyst as the case may be. So guys, I'm happy to show you some of my knowledge, and to see you in my next video. Cheers guys.